On the show today, I have actor Ali Fazal. Now, most of us at some point in our lives face the challenge of body image issues. Whether you feel unhappy in the body you're in, feel the sting of external remarks on your body, feel like you're working towards a seemingly unattainable fitness goal and don't know how to even start, there are countless completely valid reasons for us to feel this way. For Ali and I, there comes the unique and added aspect of being in an industry that fixates on our physical form. So, I wanted to unpack his relationship with his body, with food, with bouts of low motivation, and how he navigates it all alongside the demands from the profession. I'm going to say many fabulous things about you because you've done many fabulous things. And as always, I've always been a big fan. Means done fabulous things locally, done fabulous things internationally. Now you have your own production house and you've done a podcast with Richa as well. So kudos. However,
Thank you.
the reason I wanted to talk to you was because of something that you said to me once, which was so honest and revealing. And now I know you're thinking, what on earth did I say? But it gave me a little insight into, I will use the word vulnerable side of you if I will, which was really endearing. And I don't often meet people who are in front of the camera who are comfortable sharing that. So basically this is what happened. I put up a post about being comfortable in my own skin. It was something about being comfortable in my own body and not giving a damn about what someone had to say. And I was literally just tired and frustrated of having to constantly be putting on weight and losing weight and looking a certain way. And you messaged me on the post for everyone to see, saying thank you for putting this up and thank you for voicing something that perhaps you were feeling as well. So I really want to first thank you because it was really lovely of you to message me saying that. And that's really what I wanted to talk about today, is really this whole... People talk a lot about body positivity, and I feel it's a very female-driven conversation. There isn't that much conversation around how boys think about themselves, and it's a legit thing. So I wanted to start off by really sort of just going back a little bit, and I feel that, you know, you're a tall, large boy. I'm sure you had a few gawky moments in your life when you were sort of growing up puberty-wise, or maybe you didn't. But what was your relationship like with your body when you were like going through puberty?
Oh, I think it was. It was school, right? And it was because I was in a boarding school. So I remember we were honestly we were hungry people, just hungry all the time. That's all I remember. Like 7 years. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't like Rajma for a long time. Can you imagine?
What?
Sorry,
Why?
this is totally off the topic because they fed us Rajma
All the time.
at dinner almost every night. And it was
That
just
must have
really
been one
pani-
stinky dorm room, man.
I don't know. It was
Sorry.
yeah, probably. God, we were quite shameless back then. But yeah, I mean, I never really had issues then. Honestly,
No.
I feel like because I was heavy into sports. I was playing ball. I was playing hockey. I was even doing athletics and stuff. And because I was so sporty back then, I was quite lanky and injury prone and falana, everything matlab had happened then. I suppose the corruption began when I entered the world.
So this
Right?
brings me to my next question, actually, which is that the world that you entered in, which was the world of the industry that I'm in as well. And there's a lot of emphasis on how big you are, how small you are, especially for a guy, right? Need to bulk up for most of the time bulking up, I think. And I met you when I looked at you and I saw you deadlifting like 80 kilos like you were picking up a toothpick. Like I have this visual imprinted in my brain. So for me, I looked at you and I was like, I hate him. But also he's so hot. But I was just like, what I wanted to understand was, how did you cope with all of this? Like, I'm sure you faced a situation where you've been told, listen, we need you to put on this weight or we need you to lose this weight. How did you navigate through all of this?
Well, I mean, to begin with, the first time I was really asked to put on muscle for something so specific was Mirzapur. And I'd never been that. And I thought, I thought that was a big leap of faith for Excel as well. The guys who were casting me in this part, because I thought this other part they'd offered me, and I said no. I don't think I lied. I said dates weights nahi hai mere paas mein kuch, because I just felt like I could bring something to the table with
Yeah.
this particular part.
Yeah.
And then they said okay. And then apparently they started photoshopping my different looks, and I said I think he should have a buzz and no hair, and this is the build. And they said but that's nothing like you. And and that's, it brings me to a point, because we are our last Fridays in this world. And so my image, even if I was a producer back then, I would never cast an Ali Fazal for something like this, because you don't look the part, you don't feel it, you don't talk like that, you talk like some whatever Bandraish version of whatever. So I think that was my big stepping into these shoes of just getting big and sitting in a gym, which I hated, because I'm an outdoors guy. So for me, it was actually a 4-6 months of just being caged inside one room and pushing weight and loads of weight, and I had to work double, because I didn't take anything cosmetic, if that's the word we can use, or God, any of those things. So yeah, I built size. I was eating a lot. God, I was weighing, by the end of it, I was weighing about 96, 97 kilos.
Goodness.
Yeah. And that was scary. That was fine then. It worked, because for whatever thing, the action and blah blah blah, the whole series. But after that came the problem that, okay, how do I get back? Like nobody's coming back to help you for that, right? Because job's done.
Yeah.
It's like there's no rehab for that, or I don't know
That's
the
such an
word would
interesting
be,
word.
right?
No, that's a
Yeah,
great word.
or-
There's no rehab for it, because you're putting in all
Yeah.
this prep. So talk me through that. What happened?
Yeah, like there should. So I was just left undone, and so I went on. Of course, I lost a couple of pounds and kilos here and there. I'd shoot a movie, and I did that rigorously, because of the only way I knew, and the only way I suppose everybody knows is that, oh, you're unfit, work out, run, work out, and go crazy, and so to a certain point that can help. But you don't understand your body that way. Sometimes you don't need a workout. Sometimes these are things I've literally probably learned in the last 1 month in all my 34 years of life, that your mind, we used to believe that our mind is, it goes under stress, and that is something you either go to therapy for, or, hey, let's work out, push in some adrenaline, and, it'll be fine, and some serotonin will happen, and you'll start to smile. And, but what you don't realize is that our bodies also take the stress.
Yeah.
And that you can't put it under more stress to get out of that stress.
And your body remembers as well.
Remembers, and of course. And I probably got lucky because of muscle memory, because my muscles remember a time where I was into gymnastics and basketball and all that stuff, so I can still take it, and I don't know how I took it, because I was really pushing it. And so of course I took out season 2 in that as well, and somehow managed. But yeah, I mean, since last year, I think it was a bit of a
We're in a really interesting place talking about sort of being taken to a place for a particular part and then being left there. And then you're sort of responsible for bringing yourself back to what you envision yourself
Yeah.
to look like. And
yeah, no, I mean, so that's the thing. So I think what the problem is that we get conditioned
yeah.
over time, especially in the films, that you're jumping from one look to the next. And I've seen a lot of my close peers, that's all their life has become about. So in the last film, I was looking like this, but now I have to look like this. And so the next, this journey in my life is only going to be about getting to that look. And then I'm thinking, shit, like this is all cosmetic. Like I don't mean cosmetic, but I mean visual, and only visual. And so I didn't realize for the longest time that I was just screwing up my insides. And of course, lo and behold, I mean, life also happens. And in the middle of the pandemic happened, and then I lost my mom, I lost my granddad, and whatever, those other things happened, and those tragedies happened. And of course, I think everybody went through shit. But what I ended up doing was I basically corrupted myself the last year, and that's the time. I think during the pandemic, right? This was
Yes,
during
it
the
was during the pandemic.
yeah, and I saw your post, and I realized like I probably had like I was probably stuffing cookies at that time or something. I was just, I mean, as much as I am for this might sound weird for for body positivity,
Yeah,
I think there's a version we all have in our heads, of
of
ourselves,
ourselves. Yeah, absolutely.
and a natural version.
Yeah,
It is not a crime to say I want to be slim.
yeah,
It is not a crime to say I want to be slimmer than who I am now.
yeah.
Or it is also not a crime to say, shit, I'm fat.
Right,
That's not fat shaming.
right.
I think that's also some mindset that has screwed up a lot of people.
Yeah,
No, don't say that. You're just over, you're politically using the right words. And I sometimes feel you got to call a spade, and that's fine. But it's how you deal with yourself inside. And yeah, I really corrupted myself from the inside. I think that's what happened. So basically it was finding the right diet or the right way of life, I suppose. That has actually, weirdly, I'm glad this podcast got delayed, because that has happened like a month and a half back in my life.
tell me about it.
And
What brought this change? What does the change look like? Is it a purely mental thing? Is it a physical thing? Is it a combination of both? Did you read something? Did someone say something to you? What happened?
no, just met someone, and we tried out, started functional medicine and did some tests, and I had some allergies that I wanted to get tested for, and then I find out like, I'm low on metals, you're just, your nutrition has
Your
gone
nutrition,
from
yeah,
inside,
yeah.
I'm not having greens. विटामिन के नाम पे लोग बस एक मल्टीविटामिन खरीद लेते हैं, and that's all they have.
Yeah, yeah,
And you ask anybody, yeah, I have my multivits. I said, "But why?
Yeah.
Which one?
yeah,
What make?
Yeah.
Where are you getting these made?
Yeah.
Everything is so specific inside that I don't even know half of it.
Yeah.
There could be one little chemical that could be off.
yeah.
And
there's also a lot to be said about intake and then absorption. Like, it's one thing that
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
intaking things, but it's a whole other thing whether your body's actually absorbing it or not.
yeah.
So
So for instance, like now, like I have freaking sauerkraut in my life.
nice.
Like that's a new thing.
Yeah.
I never thought like I would be making all that.
Yeah.
And because I have a leaky gut.
you
and I
have
deal
a
with that.
leaky gut.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
There,
I'm
I said
laughing
it.
at your
I
leaky gut.
said it. Yeah.
It's so sad,
Yeah.
but it's also so funny and so endearing again that you would admit that out loud. What are you doing for your leaky gut, Ali?
I'm
The
just
sauerkraut?
having lots and lots of sauerkraut.
Yeah, it's apparently
and just good.
miraculous. Yeah, yeah.
It is, right?
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
stops the toxicity inside.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and I think in my particular case, there is a bit of a gene activation or something. I don't know. It just that it doesn't treat the cholesterol.
Right.
It goes straight to the heart. So
Right.
I can't afford to do that. So I'm completely on olive oil and at least for now.
This is really good and really helpful to hear, because I think I've been saying this for a long time now. It's not about diet, it's about nutrition. That's one way to look at how you treat your body. And another thing is that no two people should be eating the same kinds of food, because everybody's constitution is so completely different. So these sort of, for lack of a better way of explaining it, but these fad diets and these sort of like supplements that get sold to you for getting bigger, getting smaller, getting high on this and low on that. You really need to first delve into what your body constitution is before you actually figure out what really works for you. But what I wanted to ask you is, you were talking about this, about the whole relationship with working out, etc. And what I really wanted to understand is, do you ever think it's difficult to separate working out for yourself as opposed to working out for what other people demand of you, or what the standards of beauty are? Like, there's a differentiation there? Is it difficult?
Not, I suppose like I said, the only time I felt honestly prisoned and claustrophobic was when I had to prep for this gym body.
Yeah.
And this big hulky sort of thing, which is Uh, Otherwise, like I run to boxing. I love boxing. I love jiu-jitsu. I love a mix of everything, and I probably have always found discipline in sport, and I come from that discipline. When we used to play soccer on the field or hockey, and we're roughing it out, right? We're out there, or basketball, but there's this discipline there. And I suppose it's the same thing that I use in my craft. I mean, it doesn't have to be sport to sport. It can be in life. Uh, I just, it's the same thing that kept me away from doing ads for a long time. It's this little selfish thing inside my head, this tiny little man inside my head that says, no, I'm not going to give you the pleasure on the cost of me. And so,
Elaborate that? What do you mean?
uh, it's like, when I'm doing and I'm pushing weights and all,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
doing it for, there's somebody out there who's ordered me to do this. And I have a
Right.
problem with that.
Right.
Or just, selling a product,
Yeah.
which was a problem for a long time. But then, of course, you slowly realize we're all part of packaged goods, no matter
Yeah.
what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the end of the day, you either go micro on your craft and enjoy it, or, because the macro version has got to constitute everything
Yeah.
from consumerism to, God, to colors and to the point of whatever you're wearing today and tomorrow and
Yeah.
the day after that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
sorry, do I make sense?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You do. I think also what strikes me about everything you're talking about is also achieving that kind of a balance between who you are and what you do. And I
That's
think
such
that's a constant learning for, especially for
It
us.
is,
I
right?
find. Yeah, it's a constant.
How do
learning.
you deal with it? Do you ever feel like the actor, kind of just merges into
So
your
for
your
me,
personal?
I'm always torn between there. I think there's the celebrity, there's the actor, and then there's me. Because the actor doesn't really care about the celebrity, but the celebrity is what gets pulled up for endorsements and stuff. And that's when it's the celebrity that needs to show up looking a certain way or endorse a certain product or etc etc. Whereas when I'm acting, I'm just acting. I really don't care what I'm wearing. How I'm coming across to people, etc., etc. So it's a constant battle, but I find that I constantly practice grounding, like every single day and every single moment, and that keeps me very rooted in my reality, and that does not allow me to. So my boundaries are very clear. So I know what I will and will not do, and I've just gotten okay with it. So if there is a product that I will not endorse, I will not endorse it. And thankfully, we live at a time and age when people are looking at sustainability. People are looking at stuff that's beneficial for the environment and beneficial for human beings. So if you really want to sort of get down into the nitty-gritty of picking what you're putting your voice behind, you can. It's sometimes very tough, and you do have to walk a thin rope. But I try as much as I can to inform myself as much as I can about what I'm endorsing or what I'm talking about. So that's how I sort of.
Interesting. But what do you? Sorry, one last question.
No, it's
What do
fine.
you? How do you see like what is body positivity, or the words?
So
How do they ring? I mean, for
it's
you.
just being comfortable in my own skin. And what a lot of people don't realize about me is that I went from how I look right now, I was 14 kilos bigger. I don't think you knew me then. But I was 14 kilos bigger. And when I was 14 kilos bigger, people were like, oh, you're fat, right? And at that time, size 0 was in. So, and then when I became this way, the Kim Kardashian figure became what's in. And that's what I looked like back then. So I was I was just like missing the boat on both ends. But I really just took the time in constant self-practice and constant grounding and constantly literally doing things like looking myself in the mirror and saying, I love you over and over and over again, which I used to laugh at first when I first started doing it. But I really cannot, I know that some people are going to cringe when I say this, but I cannot emphasize the importance of self-love when it comes to body positivity. You just have to be, am I healthy and am I okay with the way I look? It's really also for me right now become more about being healthy than anything else. I'm happy to put on weight or lose weight for a part. But it's again about how do I come back to my center? How do I come back to who I am? How do I come back to my standards? So
Yeah. I think that's the
yeah,
least we
yeah,
owe
yeah,
ourselves.
yeah, yeah,
It's so important. I'm hoping I reach a point where I can be really just be able to listen to what your body wants
yeah,
at what time and what are you feeding it
yeah,
and
yeah,
what is happening
yeah.
inside. We never know, right?
No,
We just have ideas.
yeah,
आज ये मतलब I see so many people on a keto diet these days. It's so bad.
yeah,
It's not the right way to go.
yeah,
And
yeah.
someone's saying, no,
Remind
I've
me what
just
a
been on a
keto is
keto.
again. It's no carbs, right? Only
All
fat or something.
all fats and dairies, but that is you putting your body in ketosis is
Yeah,
it's not an everyday thing. It's like you don't take antibiotics every day,
yeah,
right? It's
yeah,
once in a
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But again, I'm no expert, so I don't want to be quoted like that. I think I'm just a civilian who's
It's your
probably
opinion
saying it
about
out
it.
of
It's absolutely fine, and I totally respect that. And I also have my
yeah.
questions about it. See, my fundamental issue with anything that is an extreme, right? I had the same issue with Atkins as well, like going off carbs completely. I could never understand it. I'm like, how? So there was like no fruit intake in your diet at all, and I'm like, but I grew up being told fruits were good for me. Like, but I'll be lost. Anyway, coming back to what we was talking about before we go off on a complete tangent. Um, what I wanted to sort of also ask you is that, I hear you when you say that you have to train for a part. You also get drawn to sports, but I'm sure that you have days of sort of low motivation or low sort of energy when you are big eyes. When you're kind of like, Ali does not want to get out of Ali does not want to adult today. So what do you
Man, that's every
deal?
day.
How do you cope? What do you do?
That's every day. Adulting is wrong. I think it's just wrong. I can't do it. There's already, think about it, Sarah. There are so many things in our lives that are already doing the adulting for us. I get a bill, not a bill. I get so many bills every month, no matter which part of the world I'm in. Okay, I could be shooting the coolest thing on this planet, but
Then
there
you
will
have
be one
this
TV. या केबल बिल भरने का है, फोन बिल भरने का है, गैस बिल भरने का है, अभी कुछ हो रहा
even
है,
when you're
सब
not
मतलब
using it,
खत्म.
when you're not in town, it's the worst.
Like it's one, some people having fun.
Yeah.
They're saying,
Yeah.
अभी तू pay करेगा, you have to be adult. So I find that really funny. And I think apart from that, I don't like it. But yeah, come to the other part of the question where yes, there are lazy days. God, I'm sometimes a sloth.
So
I'm,
then
I'm a
how do
movie
you
buff.
unsloth?
Well, I recently discovered yoga. I think yoga
Oh,
was
very excited. I did not know this. Oh my God. We haven't spoken in too long. Tell me more.
yeah. No, just great. I think it's uh, I always wondered, okay, now I've learned the breath, but then what do I do with it? Because I think there's so much that can be done with breath, and of course, because in my craft, I've done breath work
Breath
and
work. Yeah.
probably
Yeah. Yeah.
studied that as a means to help emote and other stuff. But Iyengar,
Nice.
yeah, and it's been it really pulls me out
Yeah.
of that because you're competing with yourself for the largest part of it, and
Oh God. Can I please
oh
just
god,
don't tell your Iyengar instructor that. Just be like, you're not supposed to be competing yourself. You're supposed to be okay
not
with who you
competing.
are.
I suppose the human brain that I have,
Yes.
which is
Yes.
less evolved, thinks, okay, there's not a second person or not an idol or a inspiring figure that I'm looking up to in this particular thing or a weight that I'm hoping to reach,
Right.
when I'm pushing bars or,
Right.
or 10 pull-ups or 20 pull-ups. No, I'm trying to reach this beautiful shape,
Yeah.
which is going to be made out of my body,
Right.
and it's and so the limits will be decided according to my body.
That's beautiful,
That's
Ali.
what I meant, in terms of
Yeah.
competition,
Yeah.
not
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great
So-
that is a great way of looking at it. And that's exactly what it's about. Actually, you are making shapes and you're trying to breathe correctly while you're making those
Yeah.
shapes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
and
yeah,
and I think it's amazing. I look really stupid with this.
With what? Did you
Ajit, why
suddenly
didn't you
have
tell
this
me this?
realization? I just thought it was, babe, I don't judge. So I'm like, this is his new look. This is what he's vibing with. So I'll vibe with it. I don't care.
Whatever. I don't know.
They put it back
I
on
think
again.
I would.
It's fine.
Anyway.
Tell me about so we've been through sort of like the journey from puberty up until now. What's your relationship with food right now and nutrition?
It's a bit of love and hate because I'm trying out new things. I've stopped for just now for another month. I'm gonna be off like just carbs and stuff. I'm off sugars, off a lot of things because I'm also just a whole detox happening for years of corruption, I suppose. It's the least I can do. But I'm also discovering greens. I'm also discovering so many colors on my plate.
Nice.
I mean, of course, sometimes I feel like a
A cow?
yeah.
A cow
Yeah.
that's always chewing. I was going to say, I
Yeah.
feel like a rainbow threw up on your plate. But yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Cows regurgitate in their own mouth and then chew it.
Exactly.
Yeah, great. So you have grown
And it's
into
amazing.
a multicolored food eating cow.
No, no. God, no. My
What a
God. No,
wonderful
but it's
evolution. A yoga doing, multicolored
I know.
food eating person. Lovely, lovely.
But it's nice. I'm liking it. I think it's very interesting. And it's all kinds of food. It's not like it's vegetarian only or
Right.
non-vegetarian only.
Right.
So it's a bit of a good mix.
Nice, nice. Right, okay. So just before I let you go, I have to ask you two things. One is so you're having a day and suddenly this horribly negative body related thought comes into your head, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's your instant remedy or your instant affirmation or whatever it is? What do you do to kind of snap out of it?
I still don't know. I haven't figured it.
Okay.
It ruins my entire day sometimes.
Yeah.
It has ruined so many days.
Yeah.
So many days. Or for even I think, God, I feel like words are so strong, and you're right. Like we probably need affirmations, and I think we're not used to saying things to ourselves. But every time we hear it, and God forbid if it's a stranger
Yeah.
or somebody you don't know,
Yeah.
and they just pass by and very casually say something,
Yeah.
and it sticks with you, and you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
and screws up the entire
Which
day.
somehow I feel culturally, and I don't mean to diss anybody or my culture, I love it. But it's somehow I find that over here, people find it almost okay / necessary to comment about how you look first before they ask you how you
Yeah.
are. So it's always,
Yeah.
oh, moti ho gayi, oh,
So
patli ho gayi, oh, like
Huh.
who I met the other day, like, oh my God, you got so tanned. I'm like, oh, I like it, buddy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like a thing. It's like a takya galam ki when you meet
Huh.
someone you say.
Huh.
Yeah, I think we are conditioned.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
But
pata
let's
nahi.
flip that for a second. What would you say to someone else who was having a low confidence, low body confidence day?
Man, I mean, I would say just it's such a tough thing with everybody. I know how it feels, and it's it's this what they call it, the gut wrenching
Wrenching,
sort
yeah,
of
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
retching
yeah,
moment, where you
yeah.
just crunch up, or some version of you crunches up inside,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and becomes really chota, and
Yeah.
and you feel really intimidated, and I if I could, I'd just hug those people out, like I'd just give everybody a hug or something.
Oh, that's nice. Yes. Coming
I
from
don't
you, it
know.
would be a
Yeah.
bear hug. So, yeah.
Yes, I love hugs.
Lovely. Lovely. Well, thank you. This has been most wonderful.
I hope.
And I have had asked you all the questions that I've been aching to ask you for a very long time. Tell me.
I have a question.
Yes.
You've had both sides, right?
Yes.
Overweight and under. And
Yeah.
I mean, I remember seeing you that one time, which was not a good time, I know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you shrunk.
Yeah.
Which one? Which side or is that even a thing to say? I don't know. What was it traumatic? Was it like, did you feel which side of it did you feel more unhealthy?
Oh,
Or was
under.
it just a phase? Under?
But under was associated with a lot of with grief, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm
That's
asking.
why.
Exactly. It was
That's
grief.
why. So over had happened because I had PCOD. So that was a hormone thing. So there was still some semblance of it being in control because I could medicate maybe, or I could whatever. And that
I know.
was something that was completely out of my control. So the grief just, it's like sucked
Yeah.
that, just all the love. I love food. Any love that I was getting from the nutrition that I was eating was just not sitting
It was all
on my
going.
body.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
so
remember seeing you that time.
yeah. So that's it. That's really that's it. It's not a better or worse but if I had to choose, that was easier to deal with when I was bigger. That was much easier to deal with. When I look back. Yeah, thank you for asking me that question. And
Thank you for having me.
thank you and good luck with the yoga and making
Yeah,
shapes.
I'm just like starting baby steps. I think. Let's see.
Yeah.
Find
Okay.
out. what
Lovely,
happens.
lovely. You just heard my conversation with actor Ali Fazal. There's definitely a lot to unpack here. But what I'm going to be thinking about is how the only person who should be making decisions for your body is you. And it's not wrong to have a personal fitness goal as long as it's holistic and makes you truly happy inside out. Check out the show notes to see where you can follow Ali and his work. And for more feel-good vibes, head to Figoco, that's F-E-G-O-C-O, on Instagram.